Chris Rock, right, famously made a joke years ago. He said, relationships, easy to get in, hard to maintain. Relationships are hard to maintain because they take work, they take involvement, and they take an interest in the other person.
When a relationship starts to drift away for men and they feel like they need to inject something in that relationship, it could be, a relationship they just be in a couple of months or even, and also longer relationships. And the men feel like, I need to do something here in order to save the relationship, to take it to the next level. What should I do? First, a lot of men got the misconception that they need to be more in terms of passive value. They have to look better. They have to make more money. They have to, in some way, get higher status to show the woman that this is a high quality man. But this is a huge misconception. And we have decades of scientific research and evidence that shows that this is not the elements that build relationships. Julian, you have the spotlight. What is it exactly that normally are missing here?
Well, I think for me, we have to remember, and me and you were just talking about this, that at the heart of the work of relationship, that the process of relating is created, shaped, maintained by communication processes. So you can't think there's just not who you are that's going to determine the outcome of how you are relating to another person. It is what you say and what you do. And there are lots of behaviors scientifically that have been shown to help people maintain relationships. I mean, Chris Rock, right, famously made a joke years ago. He said, relationships, easy to get in, hard to maintain. And relationships are hard to maintain because they take work, they take involvement, and they take an interest in the other person. So the first thing that I would say is you have to remember that what you experience in the relationship, what it is you have, is shaped by the communication that you are engaging in and that your partner is engaging in. Together, you are creating or co-creating something that is the experience of the relationship. And of course, as we've tried to show in some of the previous podcasts, when you change what you do, so if you feel like, the relationship is pulling away, or I'm worried about losing her, or any of these notions, then your communication should start to reflect, try to connect with a person, in more substantial ways. So if you change your communication, you're going to change the quality of the relationship, which is going to ultimately change the quality of your experience together. Is that kind of making sense, Michael?
Absolutely. So it's basically a series of communication behaviors that shapes relationships.
Yes.
So if we fundamentally see relationships as something we need to communicate, behaviors that we need to communicate, and then in the world of interpersonal communication, positive communication that you are specialized in, communication that are designed to build relationships, those behaviors are not very common today for men to just know. This is actually something that I feel need to be practiced with strong intent. That is what I've seen being coaching close to 1,000 men on how to build relationships. What is your take on this?
Well, I think that as relationships develop, what's interesting to me is that, the very behaviors that are designed to maintain healthy, positive relationships people start to struggle and they start to disappear. I'll give you an example. I had a student of mine, one of my classes, I have them do all kinds of goofy exercises that are kind of relationship based. And one of the behaviors we've talked about is greeting. Okay. The simple act in the morning, you wake up, what's the first thing that you do with your spouse? Do you take a moment to really connect with her? Do you take a moment to ask her what she's got going on during the day? Do you take a moment to be warm? Do you take a moment to be attentive? Or sometimes, we just wake up and we ignore our partner. We're not there. We're not available. We're busy thinking about our day. So my student realized when we were talking about greetings, she just said, she wrote about this, but she said, my husband and I have kind of forgotten this thing. We just wake up, we make breakfast, we hardly talk, we don't connect, we do all of those things, and then we go to work. And then when we come home, same thing. And she said, I'm going to work on greetings. And she began every day by making an effort to, go to her partner and connect with him and ask him about his day. And she reported that the relationship was completely transformed. Okay. Now, this is a situation where we have a woman doing this, but the same thing applies if you reverse it, where you're thinking, my partner is pulling away from me. Let me find a way to connect with her. It's the small behavior, something small that you have control over. Your desire to invite connection versus your tendency to withdraw from connection. And to maintain good relationships, the first thing you have to do is you find lots of ways of turning towards the other person. Famous researcher, John Gottman, who studied marriages for more than 30 years, he calls it turning toward rather than turning away. That move is what maintains relationships. Lots of opportunities to turn away from people, right? So maybe you wake up and you're like, well, I need to read the news this morning, but my partner is here. Well, I'm going to focus on my phone. That's turning away. So find opportunities to turn towards your partner. Is that making sense, Michael?
Yes, it does. So it's basically going through the same, the communication statement that we have, that if you want to be interested rather than trying to be interesting. But here it's more like be interested rather than being distracted, so to speak. It's like keep maintaining the interest towards your partner. It's not so much about showing off, or as I said in the beginning, like you're going to increase your salary and looking better. It's more to be maintaining the interest you have, a genuine interest about your partner day by day, by injecting small behaviors. And what you explained to us now was just one small behavior of
That's
many,
correct.
which was greetings.
Yeah, and there are, in my model, I always return to my model because to me, it's a fundamental way of talking about how to maintain relationships.
Guys, we're going to do a lot more of these kind of podcasts. So look out for future podcasts and future videos. Make sure to subscribe, and I see you all in the next video.